full of Florida Gator fans versus the rest of the class. This year, the Seminoles went on to luckily beat the Gators by a score of 52-17 on several fluke plays. However, life continued for all of us. After we had all adjusted to high school life, our sophomore year rolled around. Being up to our necks in bake sales and car washes all year, we finally got to travel up to Camp Carolina for the sophomore safari. Here, while living through several days of pouring rain, our class found several ways to enjoy itself, from diving on a mud slide covered with shampoo to hang gliding down the mountainside. While not pertaining directly to school, our sophomore year also brought about another privilege that I'm sure all of our parents cherish. We got our driver's licenses. For many, this was our first taste of freedom, and we took full advantage of it. The football game took place this year with the Seminoles beating the Gators by a score of 24-17. However, the true Gator fans knew that this dynasty could not last. Driving to school without our parents was not the most exciting part of our junior year. We now laid claim to the title of upperclassmen. We were no longer the youngest at Maclay, and we were only 1 year away from being the kings and queens of the school. During our junior year, we were also allowed to go off campus for lunch. This, I'm sure, broke many a heart to leave the wonderful taste of the cafeteria food behind. Unlike previous years, our class did not throw a party for the outgoing senior class. Instead, we planned our own trip to Beach Mountain, North Carolina, and started the first annual junior ski trip. Most of our days here at Beach Mountain were spent racing down the slopes trying to outrun the ski patrol. Unfortunately, once again, the Florida Gators were no match for the Seminoles this year, as they handily beat the Gators 45-30 in front of a national TV audience. It seemed as if the reign of the Seminoles would never come to an end. Our class reign of Maclay School began on August 26, 1991. The time had finally arrived. For 3 long years, we'd watched in envy of the seniors as they sat in their seemingly majestic shack on those cold winter days and taunted us from the study halls they sat outside. It was now our turn to carry on the traditions and expectations of the seniors before us. We wanted to make this our most fun-filled and exciting year yet. However, sitting in some of our classes made us appreciate just how long 55 minutes really was. Our grad night at Six Flags Over Atlanta was canceled, so we planned another trip to Wet n Wild and spent the day riding the raging rapids and clinging together like a giant amoeba in the wave pool. We returned home that night with the wonderful taste of chlorine in our mouths, ready to start our last week of school. Unfortunately, the dreaded disease known as senioritis hit many of us hard when we returned that week, yet we continued to try and exempt our final exams of high school. Our last week of school went by extremely fast. After we received our yearbooks, all of us realized that tonight would be the last time we would be together as a class. Old feelings and memories were rekindled on this, our last day. However, this day was not as boring as it might sound. Upon arriving at school, several seniors attempted to enter the shack, but were repelled by 7 fierce, man-eating attack chickens that were left in the shack overnight by unknown assailants. Through the good fortune of having several expert chicken catchers on his staff, Mr. Jablon was able to control this potentially dangerous situation into just another daily chore. As the last bell of the day rang, many seniors sitting here tonight, including myself, erupted with joy and danced around outside. Some sat quietly and remembered the past and wondered about the future. After spending a seemingly unending number of hours in the classroom, answering questions and writing papers, there is one question that remains in all of our heads. What will college be like? In November of 1991, our college advisor, Mr. Robert Webster, began giving us long lectures on the college selection process and gave many of us advice about where we should apply. For some, it was either an easy or obvious decision, but some sweated it out until the last minute to decide. Some of the colleges chosen by our class include Johns Hopkins University, Wellesley College, Chicago Institute of Art, the University of Texas, Hampton-Sydney, Tallahassee Community College, my destination, the University of Florida, and that other university here in town. Speaking of that other university, I think that this is a perfect time to bring up the results of this year's FSU Gator football game. Ever since the football season began in August, the Florida State Seminoles have been ranked #1. Not in the state, not in the Southeast, but #1 in the entire country. With several impressive victories over Michigan and Louisville, I and other Gators like me endured several months of non-stop taunting from the Seminole fans. However, I believe that the Gators spoke for themselves on that joyous day of November 30th, 1991. With a final score of 14-9, the Seminoles became Gatorade. Aside from the fun and games of college rivalries, I come tonight to an idea that is on the entire class's mind: college. College is a very scary idea for many of us. The anticipation and excitement surrounding tonight have numbed many of us to the realities of leaving for college. For some, this means leaving the security and warmth of home and beginning the next phase of our life on our own. However, Maclay has prepared all of us for the academic trials of college, and we must learn for ourselves what life is about and what role we are to play in it. I would like to take this time to thank each of our families. Without your love and guidance, we would never have made it here tonight. The face of the world has changed drastically since we've been in high school. The Berlin Wall has fallen. Communism has collapsed. Nelson Mandela was freed. The last Star Trek movie was released. And the Atlanta Braves made it to the World Series. But the one thing that none of us ever thought would happen is occurring tonight. We are graduating. I would like to personally congratulate every one of my classmates and thank them for the memories and friendships. Live long and prosper.
I remember Josh Mahoney when he was afraid to speak in the microphone. Our commencement speaker tonight is Dr. John Scott Dailey. Scott Dailey's real-life job is being the director of the Florida Institute of Government. His office helps local communities develop and implement programs that meet special needs. However, there is much more to Scott Dailey than his profession. Raised in Miami, where he was center and team captain of the Miami Beach Tycoons, he holds an undergraduate degree in history, a master's in geography, and a doctorate in educational leadership. He was a buck sergeant in the Air Force stationed in Japan during the Korean War. He's been both a teacher to junior high students and adults. Scott has run for political office, both for supervisor of elections here in Leon County and for the school board. He lost both times. He has strong ties to Maclay School, and that his wife, Sarah Ann, has been a valued first-grade teacher for many years, and all three of the Dailey children have graduated from Maclay School. For years, I used to think, as did others, that he was the manager of the Killarn Publix, because I would always see him in the aisles there. I later learned he was there for the free coffee. I see you've seen him also. But the essence of Scott Dailey has been realized these past few years in Tallahassee's Capital Tiger Bay Club, a political club that is consistently irreverent to all of its guests. As president-elect of Tiger Bay, Dailey, whom the Tallahassee Democrat referred to as an irrepressible teddy bear, pokes fun at just about anybody. His comments are always worth listening to, for he possesses keen insight as well as a puckish humor. I give you my friend and the sage of the Tiger Bay Club, Dr. John Scott Dailey.
You forget, Mr. Mahoney, that we also beat you in the 8th grade. Thank you, Mr. Jablon. Jabaloni.